Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, taking a look at what's been going on most recently, what we think is likely to happen next, and all that wonderful stuff. In this particular video we'll be focusing in on just the micro time frame, so we'll be taking a look at the hourly time frame, and we will not be taking a look at the macros. The macros are saved for this afternoon, so if you're into the macro analysis, then why not check out the videos later this afternoon. And if you are new to the channel, by subscribing and tapping the bell and selecting all the notifications, you will not miss another video update. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, guys, check it out, linked in the description below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check it out. Let's jump right down into this one. So following on from yesterday, we're talking about a move to the downside. Some interesting developments had occurred. There was both a scenario where we could see a move up or a move down, and we're waiting for confirmation. I think we have confirmation now, so I'm going to go through what that looks like, and you can kind of see all these thumbnails kind of indicating what we're talking about, although some of the numbers on here you have to take with a pinch of salt because they are designed to kind of get your interest peaked. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in. We'll take a look at the smart money concepts, but before we do that, what we'll do is we'll start with Elliott Wave theory. Okay, so Elliott Wave theory was tracking this potential move to 28,362 with a typical wave 4 position going to 38.2% retracement of the wave 3 position, which is this move to the downside over here. In fact, I will go ahead and remove that one because we did get an overextension within there. Now we can see that we were looking for a zigzag pattern, and we were looking for a zigzag pattern right in here, and I do think we actually see that in this area over here, and we have confirmation that we actually moved on down. So I'm quite happy to kind of think of this as a zigzag and a complete wave 4, and the reason for that is I do not see it now as a flat correction, and that is simply just because we didn't have the structure that would support the idea of a flat correction. So I'm going to pop that one right in there and remove that, and we now have our nice wave 4. Okay, so like I was saying yesterday, we were looking for either a break up above our swing high and our swing low, and we got a break of our swing low. Okay, this basically means that that 5-wave structure going up and our zigzag pattern had to have completed because a B wave could not retrace more than an origin level if it started with 5-wave movement to the upside. Okay, it could have done this under a flat correction only if it was a 3-wave corrective structure to the upside. So I guess, I mean, you could argue that it's still possible under this scenario here, but we have to have 5 going up in order to kind of make that one valid. So we'd have to see something like that. Okay, so it's still technically possible, but I'm quite happy to kind of think of it as done and dusted at this point. That does bring me on to what on earth is going on here, and does our target at the low side, the one that we've been talking about, 26,383 and 26,842 still valid? And the answer is no, it's not. And the reason for that is we had a shorter wave 4. So the shorter the wave 4, the shorter our wave 5 is going to be. So I'll go ahead and throw on our fib chart here, and we can see that our target range has to move to here. And as you can kind of acknowledge, guys, let me actually bring that back down into the 1-to-1 right in here. You can see that we are close, but we haven't yet hit it. Now we can truncate, but again, it doesn't make sense to do so under this particular structure, which means it's still technically in play as far as I am concerned here. Now we can look at this thing as a diagonal, because I do think that's really where this one sits. So we'll be looking for an interesting move. Now it can, of course, extend down in this, and we can come down deeper, but for now it's at an interesting level. Okay, so we're not yet going to be marking this one up as complete. I don't think we have the structure for that, and I do think there's a little bit more room to the downside to be had in this final 5th wave movement. Okay, so under a diagonal, what does that mean? Well, a diagonal would basically consist, well, there's actually several different diagonals. Let's kind of break this down, right? We have ourselves a kind of ending diagonal structure, which will be made up of something that will look like this. Okay, and this will have a 3-wave structure here. We'll have a 3-wave structure in the movement to the upside. Now I can draw that on there. We'll have 3 waves coming down, and then we'll have another 3 waves going up, and finally we'll end up with a 3-wave structure coming down. If I remove the white lines, you'll see that it'll look like this. Basically short down, up, then down, and up, then down, right? And that's your ending diagonal. Now, the alternative options here is you end up with something called a contracting diagonal, and a contracting diagonal will have a really big wave 1 up into a big wave 2, down into a wave 3. Now, if I'm trying to think about where that one goes, I think it'll be here, then here, then here. something like this. And what happens is that I might actually have to make that a little bit bigger on the wave 1, because wave 1 should be the biggest. And then we'll have a contracting movement, and I'll just make these a little bit shorter, just in here and in here. And it'll look like this. And I might just bring that down a tad just to really illustrate how it contracts in. Okay, now this one doesn't have the same kind of rules about it that you would normally expect to see when it comes to your ending diagonal. Okay, your ending diagonal is kind of like 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and your wave 3 will be your typical 1.618. In a contracting diagonal, wave 1 is the biggest wave. Wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave, but is not 1.618 times wave 1 for the obvious reasons that wave 1 is the biggest, and wave 5 is going to be the shortest wave, and you'll have this kind of pattern appearing. There is, of course, the flip of this one as well, which we've seen and we've spoken about recently as well, which is the opposite way around. Okay, so you'd have a wave 1 and a wave 2. You'd have a kind of wave 3 here, wave 4, and then a really big wave 5. Okay, and what tends to happen here is it's something that would be an expanding diagonal. Okay, so you'd come out here quite a bit, and if I grab another one, and it expands out. Okay, so unlike a contracting diagonal, we have the expanding diagonal. So knowing that there's several different there's 3 that I've explained to you there, diagonal patterns that could appear inside here, we have to have an open mind as to which one of these is likely to be. Okay, so knowing that we have a 3-wave count going down here, I'm happy to think of that as a wave 1. I will be looking for a wave 2. And that could be pushing up quite a bit here. It will be interesting to see how that goes. But we shouldn't really pierce higher than $28,000. That should be anchored in now. And then we'll have a wave 3. And we'll see how that kind of goes. And then a final wave, wave 4 going up. And then a final 5th wave movement to the downside. And they will all be made up of 3-wave structures. And looking at it at the moment, the fact that wave 5 is a reasonable size. Wave 1 is a reasonable size. We could be looking at possibly an expanding diagonal or a contracting diagonal. I don't think it's going to be an ending diagonal. If we do see an ending diagonal, we're going to overextend and go down deeper. Okay, so we'll keep a close eye on that. Again, I'm not looking to trade this 5th wave movement. I'm going to be looking for going long on Bitcoin once this finishes. Okay, I'm not looking at trying to catch something here. I think there's a higher risk of failure within the trade. So personally, I'm going to be waiting for that next move upwards. And if I happen to miss that for whatever reason, then I'll look to short this wave 4. Okay, and I'll be looking at that as a 38.2% retracement over wherever this final 5th wave movement ends, or this larger wave 3 movement. Okay, so all in all, nothing much has overly changed since yesterday, other than the fact that we kind of have confirmation we must be in wave 5 at this point. And you can see here how this is going to be structuring out for us. Okay, so we are looking for deeper movements, but do expect some kind of relief rally. And I think it will be pretty significant when we do get that rally to the upside as well. So we'll keep that in mind. Not as significant, of course, as the bigger structures and things that are going on there. So let's move on over into smart money concepts. What do we see? So again, on the hourly chart and using Binance as our data source, we can see that we are in a bearish state of play. That hasn't changed. We have just got confirmation of this over here. Okay, you've got this BOS. Okay, so this confirms our trend has changed from a smart money concepts point of view. Okay, so we were tracking up and we had change of characters and break of structures upwards. We've now gone ahead and had a character change. And down here we have a confirmation of a break of structure, basically confirming our trend is now to the downside. So again, very much like Elliott wave theory. Elliott wave theory could see it as slightly ahead of smart money, but it is what it is, and it allows us to kind of get confirmation over a slightly longer time period. Okay, so coming down here we have all these minor change of characters as well. All of these ones can see confirmation of that, and we're still seeing this here. You can find rejection on the 50 EMA, riding that down quite a bit. There's a lot of selling pressure right up here. You can see this in the internal order blocks, and yeah, so for the most part here it looks like we still have a weak low, still room to the downside, kind of coinciding with our ending or our diagonal theory, not necessarily ending diagonal. And we have a strong high, unlikely to break that. Now, from our fair value gaps, you can see we filled the ones down here recently, but we have left this one up here. So this is where I think we'll retrace to at some point in the future. Pull that across there. So this is basically $29,000 to $30,000. So from a smart money concepts point of view, everything here seems to be pretty much aligned to the idea of further downside. which may be unpopular for many of those retail investors. I don't know. So at the moment, we are rocking 27,346, and my expectations are to come down, probably coming down more closer to 26.5, maybe even lower. It really does depend on that diagonal structure as to what emerges there. I would expect it to be volatile. It's possible that it does an ending diagonal, and if it does do an ending diagonal, then we're going to be much deeper than that. If it's a contracting or expanding, I'm expecting 26 and a half, something like that. Okay, but it's quite difficult to kind of say until we get those structures kind of anchored in there. From a smart money point of view, we haven't seen any big movements in terms of institutional candles creating imbalances in the order books for a while. The last one that we saw was over here on the 21st of April at 8 p.m. UTC. Other than that, the last one was then up here on the 19th of April. So we haven't seen any big institutional candles pushing the market in any one particular direction. So at the moment, yeah, we'll have to see whether or not that's going to change and we're going to see bigger movements in the space. But for now, I do think everything is lined up quite nicely for a bit of a move to the downside. But at some point, I think we are bouncing up towards $29,000 and $30,000 to fill this gap. And I think that could be either a B wave movement or a wave 2 movement on a bigger macro scale. Okay, so I'm going to leave this video there. If you did find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, check it out, guys. Linked in the description below. Until the next one, have a fantastic day.
We are not financial advisors. None of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to lose your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.